All right, so to close the window, we just untie the roll that I made, and we just zip it up, whether it's for packing up the camper to put down, or if it's rain outside. So we just zip it right up. And then if you want, because if it's evening time or you want privacy, you can close the shades. So we're going to do that all the way around the camper. I will say one thing though, the door is a screened-in door, and you can have privacy there, or if it's cold, you can keep that closed. Okay, the next step in putting it down is we zipped up all the windows, and we started to close some of the drapes. But the next thing we want to do is we want to take out these metal rod supports for the tenting. And what we do is we stow them right underneath the mattress. So there's one here for the front tenting, and we take that out. Notice it has a point here, and there's a hole all the way on the end. And then we just store this right under the mattress. Careful so they're not overlapping and they're just separate. And then we close the drape. So there's just one more. There's one more over here. We just take that down and we put it in like this. And then we close the drapes. Okay, the next thing is we're going to take down the dinette table. So the first thing we want to do is take off the cushions, the backs rather. And then the seat cushions. We'll talk about where we store those in a moment. And then the dinette table collapses. There's these metal supports that I'll put it right here. That'll be a lot easier. So the metal supports collapse. This Velcro thing is very important. Now you can see it only goes one way. It doesn't go this way because they lay flush. So that lays flush, this lays flush. So very, very important. This Velcro strap is also very important because it keeps the legs from falling down. If you get that nice and tight, then you get a nice tight set. Then what we do is take the table. You see these Velcro pads? These Velcro pads are for the Velcro that's on the underside of the table. And you set the Velcro from the table on those pads. And you'll know that keeps it in place so it's not going to move around. Very, very important. And we close the metal backings. Notice that when we had the cushion on, when you put it up, it's going to be down. When we put it, the cushion goes behind here. So that supports, this metal backing supports this part of the cushion. We'll put those down. And then we're going to stow the cushions. So we're going to put it right under the table. One this way. And notice these plastic knobs. What we don't do is you can put them in just like this so they're not rubbing against the fabric. This hard plastic isn't boring a hole into the fabric, so we like to put it in like that. The next thing that goes in there are these arm cushions. We push those all the way in because we want to save room for what didn't come with the camper originally, but we're selling it with the camper, is these carpets. Carpets are really a great convenience. Okay, there we go. And then these, we put, we'll put this down on the floor, and let's see, the wood backing keeps, I'll put these right here. Okay, and that creates enough space. Now the bay is here, and it's going to slide in to about here, so that's why we have to keep this area open. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is take the door out, and notice I'm just pulling away the Velcro, and you'll see it on the other side. You see how it's just Velcroed? The tenting on the outside is Velcroed to the frame of the door, and I'm just pulling it away and freeing it up from the door. So, and then there are two latches up at the top here. You just unlatch each, and you just pull it away. It tips, and lift it up a little bit to get it out of the jam, and then you just slide these slides all the way. But the first thing you do is you put the door on this bracket. Okay, so we're going to put the door on this bracket right here, and notice there's these little pins on both sides, and there's holes. There's a hole in the door, so you line it up to those pins. That'll help you get it on the bracket the correct way, and then this button just goes in the door and holds it in place. The next thing is the door needs to be secured to the ceiling, and you just push it up. There's these straps that have a snap, and you snap it onto the door. Okay. Next is we're going to put down the kitchenette, the sink, and the cooktop. So I'm grabbing this bar, and you just have to watch for the hoses on the side. If you have too much stuff in the cabinets, those hoses will be constrained. And you notice when I'm putting it down, I'm leveling it off to make sure it's level on the ground. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to slide in this bay, but for that we have to go outside. Okay, so the bay, a couple steps. One is we have to disengage the tenting from these Velcro straps. We'll do that on both sides. Very, very important. The next thing is the bar needs to be folded down. You can't push in the bay if the bar's not in. So the best way, it's hard to get that bar from the inside, so we just release the bar, and then it will fall. It'll fall inside, which is fine. Okay, and then the next step is, notice the levers here. So this is the locking mechanism when the bay is closed. So we leave this closed so you're not hitting yourself. But when we're about to close the bay, we have to hide this locking mechanism so the bay will close. So we get it here, and then we have to do it on the other side. So we hide the locking mechanism so the bay will close. Now we're ready to push in the bay. There's two handles, or you can just push it in. The handles are really for pulling it out. So you push it in. Now push it in about halfway, because then you have to check and pull out the canvas, because otherwise it'll go in with the bay, and you don't want that. You want this pointed out. And then push it in. Look, I'm watching the canvas, making sure the canvas is out. Once the bay is all the way closed, then you take your locking mechanism, and it will lock the bay. The last step, pulling the canvas out. This is absolutely critical because when we slide in the beds on both sides, the tenting can't be in for the beds to slide in. You'll ruin the tenting. Has to be out because this is the last piece of tenting that gets folded in. So we're going to take down the beds, and the very first thing before you do anything is the bungee cords that we hooked on below. There's a hook here, and so we're going to unhook this, and every bungee cord that's hooked, we want to release it all the way around. Okay, once all the bungee cords are unhooked, the next thing, the absolute next thing, you cannot do anything else before you release the corners. The corners, and you tuck it under the mattress. So you do that on both sides. You do that on both sides because what you want to do is get this bar off, and when you release the bar, you can't do this to the tenting unless this corner is released from the metal here. So that's why it's tucked under. Now this particular bar in the back, if you look over here, it has this shelf underneath. If you look underneath, and you have to make sure this shelf is flat, so the bar is flat up against the bedding. Okay, so that's pretty good. The next thing that really does help is just a little bit of folding of the tenting. Now we have to get the supports underneath. So we'll start with this one over here. Now I like to put my back into the bed, and you just lift up a little bit, release the bar, and then you put it onto the connection here, the suspension. Okay, so once we have the two supports up, we just slide it in. And I like to slide it in about halfway and then start to manage the tenting. Get it inside, get it folded. Having the tenting nice and flat will push it all the way in. Will allow for the top to close without issue. I like to tuck in the tenting underneath the bedding. Make sure the tenting is nice and flat. So we're done with the back. Now let's go to the front. Okay, the front bed is very similar to the back bed. So we have the bungee cords that we have to disconnect, and we'll disconnect those everywhere. Real easy to disconnect. I'm just running my hand. We just unrelease the corners. Once the corners are released, we can release the main metal support, which goes flat. There's no shelf on that support, so we know it's flat unless there's other things inside. You're just gonna have to look and always make sure that this bar is as flat to the ground as it can be, or flat to the bed as it can be. You can put other things around it, maybe a sleeping bag, but the bar has to be flat to the mattress. Once we're done there, the supports are a little different. They're supported by the trailer frame. I lift up with my back just a little bit, releases the pole, and you can see the metal connection piece underneath. Alright, so just like before, we're going to slide it in. It's a little bit different here because we have this front compartment to deal with, but again, manage the tenting, get it flat, fold it underneath, doesn't take long, fold the tenting under the bed, get all this hanging out, so I don't push it all the way in before I start to manage the tenting, getting it flat. Now I'm ready to push it in, and it just, it's all the way in, it basically locks into place. So, all right. Last, we now, since both beds are in, only now can we put in the tenting from the bay. So that bay tenting goes on top of the beds, just like that. At this point, we're ready to take down the canopy. Okay, so to take down the canopy, we're going to lower the lid to about another 6 or 8 inches, maybe a foot, so we can get access to putting the canopy away. So to do that, I got my crank. I'm going to go into the back. I got my crank tool, and I'm just going to drop the lid to a place where I can easily get access to the storage area for the canopy, which I believe that's a pretty good access. So now we'll take down the canopy. So to take down the canopy, first what we'll do, and it's always best to do this with another person, we'll see how I do. Just put the poles in. Put the poles down. And then we'll take these the end supports off. So if you're looking over here, the end supports are just into the framing, and it's just a rod that comes down. We're going to set it down right here, because that's where we're going to roll up our canopy. We'll take this end down. Just like the other one, real easy. And we'll set that on the floor, on the ground. And the last one we'll take down. Take that down. And we'll put this right here. All right. So then we just collapse the legs into the framing. Obviously this is better with 2 people, but I kind of know what I want to do here. So I'm starting to roll this to get it started, and these poles, they basically hide into the roll as I go. And the poles and the line, and that line, I had a little help there, thank you very much. And the last pole, once you have the poles inside, then it's just a matter of rolling up the canopy. So watch the lines. If it's going too far one way, you can roll on the other. Try to keep it so it's straight. So if it looks like it's going up too much over there, I might roll over here. So I did this with one person. It's pretty easy. Now it's just a matter of looking for the zipper. I'm hoping the zipper's over here. Oh, here it is. And get the zipper started. The good news is the zipper works. It's always worked since we've owned the camper. And that pretty much puts away the canopy. Okay, now before we close the lid, we're going to do an initial check with some of the canvas that's hanging out. We checked it around the beds. So we're just going to push this in on both sides. Just make sure it's as far in as it could go, just to get it started. We'll check the beds now in the front. What I like to do is push this all the way in. Get as much of it folded nice and neat. Just allows the camper to drop down without any issues. And then I fold this in. We'll do that to this side real quick. Forgot. So just folding in the tenting. Okay. Now we're just going to drop the lid. Now we're going to stop about a foot to go. I think this is a good place to stop because we want to do one more check of the tenting. So we'll go around this way. Notice it's hanging out. It's probably the last time. Should be the last time you have to do this. But very important. Very important. The front, just push it in. Get it nice and flat. Okay. This is the side you'll probably have to come back for because once it gets down low, there's no other way to tuck it in until the last minute. Okay, we'll just drop it. Okay, one last thing, we'll put this tenting in over here. Now that it's close enough where this last tuck will hold. Okay, we should be good to go. One quick check over here. The tenting looks good. Just want to get this corner in. I didn't put it all the way down yet because the last thing I want to do, and I could have done this earlier, is just simply closing the door. So we just close the door because this rubber will prevent you from pushing in the door. And then the last step is bringing it down all the way. Just going to tuck this in. One last tuck. And we'll bring it all the way down. Notice not completely down. You just have to put a little pressure on it. We're going to fasten that. We'll fasten it here. And then we'll latch the front passenger side, the rear passenger side. Then we're going to put our welcome mats away. Whatever welcome mat you're using, we're just going to roll it up. And there's a nice little compartment here. For storing your welcome mat or various other things. Alright. So that's putting down the camper. We're not done yet. Now, take our tool. We have to put up all the legs. So, when winding up the legs, just line up the foot pad so that it's in a flat position with the support. And then it's very important that when you get to the top, you give it another like quarter of a crank just to seat it, because when you're driving, what I have had happen to me is this will drop like this. It easily drops. It won't drop if you crank it just a little bit, and it's seated into place. Very, very important. And then I'll do this for all 4 supports.